David, thank you so much for coming on the show. What an honor to have you. You're based in Chile. You've done some incredible things. You're running Impact VC. Why don't you tell us how you got started in all of this?
Sure. So my long story short is this, that I started as a founder of a tech company. I did three companies. One failed miserably, and one good success, and the other still operating. And then I had the opportunity to become a VC. One of the VCs that invested in my first company was coming to Chile. They wanted to have an entrepreneur managing the fund, and so I learned everything about fundraising, being in the other side of the table, and finishing that fund, the investment period. For a personal thing that happened in my life, I decided to do good for this world and dedicate my life to build a better world. Just about that, and I found that the best thing that I could do for my life is to invest and support impact-driven founders or purpose-driven founders. And so the best way to do that was to be a VC, but I figured that to be the best VC that I can be, I needed to be an impact founder first and have a successful company in the impact space. And so I was lucky enough to be invited to Betterfly, which is the first social unicorn in Latin America. And so I joined the team from day one. I invested that also in that company. I led the fundraising efforts, the tech team, the product team, until we got into Series A, and that was it. And then I decided to join another company, Wheel the World. It's a company that is doing the world accessible. And I also joined the team, fundraising, product, tech, and took the company to Series A. And after those two experiences, I was ready to launch Impact VC, which is a seed fund to invest in LATAM founders in the impact space. Or yeah, that's kind of
Yeah,
it.
you said there's something that led you to think hey, I have to do something that leaves an impact in the world and do good in the world. What
Yeah.
was that?
Okay, so it can sound esoteric somehow, but I got into a conversation with an astrologist. He read my astrology card, I would say, and he told me that I was in former lives, I was cheap. I did bad use of my power and did bad to a lot of people, and that in this life I came to give back, and that 3 years from that session I would have enough money to pay my house, and that what I needed to do was to actually um, uh, give that money away to causes that I cared about, and it actually happened, and I remembered the astrology card when that happened, and so it hit me, and I decided to give it a thought, and it was not hard for my heart to really give that away. It felt the right way to do, and I got 2 weeks just to decide my ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept where it's a mix of what you're good at, what the world needs, what the world is willing to pay you, and what you love to do. And my ikigai was to actually give away. And so I decided to give away all that money. I felt spiritual, and after that, I changed my life 100%, and it's all about giving. Yeah, I think it's all about giving, and you will receive multiply.
Yeah.
So that's the way I live my life since then.
That is incredible. Wow, what an experience to have gone through. Did you have any interaction or belief or general experiences with astrology prior to that?
No, no. My wife was looking, she wanted to find herself and decide what to do with her life. So I just got her an interview, and it was like I was there. So, okay, read me the astrology card. It's not going to be a problem for me. So I was a skeptic. but everything that happened, everything that they told me, he told me, happened. And I did research of the guy, and he is a famous astrologist. He worked with Joe Dispenza, and yeah, I just believed him. Actually, Joe Dispenza was the first book that I read that gave me some spiritual knowledge.
Wow, this is
So
incredible. Have you been in touch with him since?
yes, after I finished at Will World and I decided to do Impact VC, I didn't tell him anything. Just Miguel, I need you to read the astrology guide again. He did it. He told me that I was going to be. He didn't know anything about this. I was going to be a channel for a lot of money. That I was going to travel all over Latin America, and that I was going to be related to doing good things for the world and philanthropy. And that's actually my fund. And he didn't know anything about that. And he told me that I was going to write a book that is going to be famous. That still doesn't happen. Uh, I just believe in that guy. And that he did the reading at his birthday, 17th birthday, in his house with people in his house. But he told me, you gave me this date, and I just decided to do it on my birthday. And he died at 70. So that's
Oh
the
my
last
goodness.
thing I heard about him. And yeah, I should read. I should write a book. I don't know. I'm not sure about how, but about what. But yeah, I should do it, I think.
Have you started? You haven't started writing it or anything, or thinking about what it would be about?
I started. Yeah, I have an uncle who does a lot of this, and he told me he was going to help me out, and we have been emailing us about what do I want to read, and some different stuff. But I'm not focused on that right now. I'm focused on the impact that I see for the moment.
Yeah. What does impact mean to you? And what type of companies do you look for to invest in where you know that they're making an impact? And it's not like one of these things where it's a marketing ploy or something along those lines, like to try to gain customers and that type of thing. How do you know when a company is really making an impact?
Yeah. So the journey of a startup, of a company, it goes different ways. You can change your business model, many times. You can change your product, change your services. And so what I like to look for is the purpose of the founders. Why do they care about this? And because having a company, it's you have low lights many times, and you have to hustle and surpass those moments. And there's a book actually called Grit. Angela, and I don't remember the last name. He talks a lot about the grit that you have when you have a purpose, a personal story about the company that you're building. And I think that's true. It happened, it happened to me. It happened to the founders that I've been successful investing. And so I think that the purpose of the founders, it's gonna stick a bit longer, if or until the end, if they have a personal story. And so I look for business models related to impact, but that's not like the best way to see it. For in my side, I see the purpose of the founders, and if they are in love with a problem that is big enough to play the VC game, I want to support those guys, and I actually start supporting first, and then I invest in those companies.
I think the book you're talking about is Angela Duckworth's Grit.
Yes,
Yeah, that's an
yes.
incredible book, and I've actually had the chance to meet Angela. She spoke at one of my
Wow.
events. It's pretty incredible. It's interesting to hear you talk about her. Yeah, she's incredible, really really cool.
Yes,
Anyways, so
yes.
what's an example of a company that you've seen like, hey, I really believed in these founders. I really believed in their mission. I really believed in what they were doing. Um, and but the journey wasn't a straight line. Maybe there was some twists and turns inside of that, and at the end of the day they actually ended up doing what they were doing? Or what is an example of like someone who really like when you're it feels like when you're trying to build an impact startup, it's almost like you're making everything doubly hard on yourself. I mean, startups are
Mm,
already hard, and then you've got
yeah.
to add like impact and doing good and all that type of stuff on top of it. What is that journey like for most entrepreneurs?
Okay, so this one journey that is easy, will the world. They want to do the world accessible. Actually, the founder, the CEO, is in a wheelchair, and so that type of companies, they just need to grow. Every time they grow, every time they're bigger, they are helping more people with disability to explore the world without limits. So that's the easy type of startup when they don't have to change anything. They're just doing it the right way. But I have another company that is called Carrot, and what Carrot does is last mile delivery. The purpose of the founder is to do last mile on zero, how to say it in English, zero emissions, right? Or to offset all the emissions.
Oh yeah,
And so
carbon
that's the
offsets.
purpose of the founder. Yeah, carbon offset. Yeah. And so I met the founder for a year. I helped him build the strategy and build the team and build the fundraising strategy, and I know the purpose of the guy because he worked at another logistic company with his father, and he saw all the mean things that the father did, and he only cared about money and not care about the planet, and he cares a lot about the planet, but he decided that the way that he is going to actually impact the world is to take the market right away, really fast, and the market is not zero emissions. He's growing now, so he can actually transform the industry from the inside, and having a big portion of the market. So, and I believe in that, and he's actually now he had an chief impact officer, and we decided to don't worry about that. You're doing a lot of stuff. You need to grow your company. Don't care about that now. Just measure your impact. Measure it. Don't be too dedicating too much time to that, and focus on that. And then we can come back and actually change the market from inside. And so it has been successful. He now just Natura company is a listed company from Brazil. They decided to be a good company for the world. They looked for last mile logistics companies, and decided to work with Carrot for the purpose of the company. And now he's closing a Series A led by Natura, and so he's doing great. He's actually doing great, but it's not the impact company that he sold to me at the beginning. But we decided together that it was better to take the market and then change it from inside.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of entrepreneurship, right? Like the twists and turns, like the way you start, and your vision for how it's all going to go is never exactly the way you planned, and there's all
Never.
the twists and turns inside of that. I wonder, like, what is the Latin America startup and tech and business community like? You're probably talking at this point right now to a mostly American or European audience. I wonder if you could explain, like, hey, what's happening within Latin America and its startup and tech community?
Yeah. So it has been growing incredibly. On 2021 was the region that had the biggest growth. And there's a new wave of VCs. So there's probably like 300, 400 VCs investing in the region, from the region. And what we have seen is that it's probably different from other places, is that here we have a culture thing of give back, right? And so you see all the best entrepreneurs that have become unicorns in the last few years. They are all helping other entrepreneurs coming up. They're investing in VCs, new VCs. They're being mentors. They're doing education. They're teaching what they do, and so I'm seeing. I've been here in the ecosystem for a long time, and I'm seeing better and better founders all the time. And what other thing that happened is that since the venture capital industry became sexy here, the corporates they wanted to jump in, and so there's a lot of new corporate venture capital, and there's a lot of new innovation departments in these big companies, and so they all are trying to work with startups, and so B2B startups now are doing great because of there's a new like openness in the corporate from the corporate side to work with startups.
What advice do you have for entrepreneurs in that region in terms of like these are the types of companies you should be going after? This is the type of industry you should pursue. This is what it's going to take in order to build a successful company. What advice do you have on that front?
Well, obviously, there's a lot of advice for new entrepreneurs, but I always say that you need to support with people that already did what you're about to do. Obviously, there's a lot of risk when you don't know what's going to happen with your vision, and so just reach out to other founders that did the same that you want to do, and you will get beautiful insights. And there's really, really a lot of openness from these successful founders to help new entrepreneurs. That's one. The other one is about markets. Now, since everything is going down, uh, you see that luxury, everything that is products or services to improve and do things that we never did before are not doing that great. And there's a lot of startups solving more basic needs that are doing great. And so if you're trying to build a startup and you have your vision and you don't know where to start with something basic that really helps people get along with their lives, and then you can do like amazing stuff, to really do cutting edge technologies and everything. Anyways, we have everything from the
Yeah.
US coming here, so you're doing
Yeah.
great stuff, and we receive it later. So we don't need to do that. We just need to improve the quality of life of people in the region, and there's a lot of opportunities over there.
In your opinion, what makes a good leader?
Wow. Um, Obviously, I've been a leader for a long time, and I think that being empathetic was one of the things that I didn't have at the beginning, and changed my way of leading, and I feel like I did a really big step up in my leadership skills to be empathetic. Obviously, to have a clear vision is something that you will probably have if you're a leader, but the most important thing is to be clear with your vision and to how to communicate that vision. I think that's a really helpful skill. And what else? Honesty, I would say. If you're a leader that is not honest, you can be a leader for a short period of time.
Yeah. That's a good way to put that. There's a lot of truth in that. Um, so what's next for you? Are you just going to keep doing the VC stuff for as long as you possibly can? Obviously, maybe there's plans to write a book down the road. What are you planning on doing next?
Thank you for the question. Obviously, Impactive is still growing. We're closing now. Actually, in 2 more months, I'm doing the final closing of this first fund, and then we're going to do fund two, fund three, fund four. I actually have GPs, better GPs than myself. People with more experience coming into Impacta to be GPs at the next fund. So that's going to continue. But what I'm building now is Go Impacta, which is actually like a you would say a post acceleration. Uh, Maybe education. The purpose of Go Impacta is to help the entrepreneurial ecosystem to validate themselves in Latin America, because the best companies from here, they end up in the US or Europe, doing an IPO, an acquisition, and so we want the industry to be fully completed over here, and so we're going to do a lot of stuff for the ecosystem, to help the ecosystem grow and be successful. My business, if I want to have Impact VC for a long period of time and be a big firm in Latin America, I need the ecosystem to be proven and or validate itself. And so my business is actually the ecosystem, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm working with government, corporates, angel investors, successful founders, other VCs. I have a platform where I help other VCs to help to see everything that I see in my deal flow. They say too, and so I'm building the ecosystem, and I think that's gonna be a big part of my efforts in the coming years. And obviously, to write a book.
Yeah, yeah, you're definitely writing a book. I feel like you have no choice there at this point, given everything else that's been said has come true. Um, what's it like working with the government down there?
Okay, in Chile, we have like the best example in Latin America. They put a lot of money into VCs, into founders. We have a program where we bring founders from abroad to develop their startups in Chile. Now we have a program to bring VCs from abroad, and they're actually tripling your money. If you bring like 10 millions to invest in Chile, they will give you 30 million extra, and you will be able to invest 40 and have bigger management fees and everything. And so uh, the way they do it is to be really flexible in terms of designing the different programs for different types of actors in this ecosystem. But obviously, you have to. It is money from the taxes from Chileans, and so you need to verify that you spend your money as you said you were going to spend. And so there's a lot of work of paperwork, and yeah, and due diligence uh, being done by them. But that's the trade-off, right?
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there. Finally, David, and again, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing your experience and your wisdom, and everything you've done in this world and continue to do. We ask the same question at the end of every interview for CEO.com, because we believe that the chances that are given are just as important and impactful as the chances that we take on ourselves. And I wonder if there's an example of someone who gave you a chance to get you to where you are today. I know you've already mentioned the what is it called? The astrologist?
The astrologist Miguel Ticelli. That's the
Yeah.
name, Miguel Ticelli. I would say the other one is Alvaro Silverstein, which is the CEO of Will the World. We played together tennis when we were young, and then he had an accident. He's now in a wheelchair, and he invited me to be part of his company. He opened his company for me, and he taught me that in his company, everybody is doing the world accessible. And so you ask the marketer, "Hey, what are you doing? The world accessible." And what about you, the finance guy? What are you doing right now? I'm making the world accessible. And so he taught me that the best way that you can actually lead and share the purpose of you personally with your company.
That's incredible. David, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Clint, it is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation, and obviously happy to help if you think there's something I can help you with from Chile, from Latin America. If you come out here, obviously let me know. I will be happily to help.
Of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's stay in touch and even have you back on as things get going. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Clint.